They have to be cursed at this point, right? What other explanation could there be? Year after year, season after season, the same old story. Game 7 tonight in Denver, and one of the stories pregame, Steve Ballmer paying for the tickets and flights of members of the Wall to go to Denver and watch their Clippers perform. Starting lineups tonight, the Nuggets going with the same starting five, but a change for the Clippers. Derrick Jones Jr. starting over Chris Dunn. One of the biggest questions coming into Game 7, which version of James Harden was going to show up and assist to start the night for him. Clippers throwing the first punch in this one. Harden with the strip, and there is that new starter, Derrick Jones Jr. finishing. By the way, Ty Lue 4-0 in Game 7s. The home team answering back quickly though. Nikola Jokic channeling his inner John Elway with a touchdown. Midway through the first quarter, the first big play of the night for Denver. Down by one, Jokic on his horse to Gordon, to the corner to Michael Porter Jr. for three. Both teams knowing they need their superstars in this one. Next possession, there's Kawhi. All tied up here still early in the first, early in the ball game. The hero from Game 6, Nick Batum. The interesting thing about this first quarter was Nikola Jokic with no field goals, but plenty of assists. Jokic to Brown there, end of the first. Jokic, a half-court dime to Watson. Nuggets down by one in the second quarter. Always one of the biggest questions for this team. How do they survive when Jokic sits? Westbrook starts it with a three. Now there is Russell Westbrook channeling his inner Champ Bailey. Denver starting to find their groove, and there is their leader with his first field goal. Jokic with a three, Nuggets up by three, and now Russell Westbrook. What a series for him. Shouldn't come as a surprise either. These two have had insane camaraderie all season long. Jokic starting to get going. There is James Harden's first field goal of the night. But the story once again, Hart, Hustle, and Russell. Westbrook with the huge hustle and then the sequence of the ball game. Jokic the block on one end, Murray coast to coast the other way. Remember though, the last time the Nuggets were up big at home in a Game 7, they lost to Minnesota. And it seemed like they learned from their mistakes because they put their foot on the gas pedal here in this third quarter. MPJ with a three, then Gordon with the block. Nuggets up by 20, out and running, and there is Porter Jr. The Clippers are gashed wide open at this point, and they can do nothing to stop the bleeding. Jokic with the and one, their next possession, Colorado Avalanche. The beautiful thing about tonight's Nuggets performance is it was a true team effort. Christian Brown hits a three there, fourth quarter, Nuggets up by 31, and the Clippers have officially thrown in the towel. What a fitting way for this series to end too. Russell Westbrook, the slam. And you knew with Russ, this series was going to be personal. He's got another one to close the show, and he wanted this technical so badly. He dared the ref to give it to him, and he said, yes, please tee me up. And then he goes over and gives a message to the crowd. Can you read lips? Look at Russ. Final score in this one was 120 to 101, but it felt like a lot more than 19 points. First of all, it was just 2 days ago that I made this video about James Harden, and I have to take ownership and accountability myself. If you didn't see that video, it was basically me hyping up James Harden after that Game 6 performance he had, which at the time I think was justified, but a lot of you in the comments said just wait for Game 7, and I tried to ignore it, but you guys were right. I was absolutely wrong. Harden's numbers tonight are going to be the story, but I do think this conversation is more nuanced than we give it credit for. In the first half of this game, Harden had 10 assists. They kept double teaming him, and he was making the right basketball play. But at the end of the day, a superstar caliber player having 7 points in an elimination game is unacceptable. And it just adds to the narrative. This from Carson Brewer. James Harden has played in 7 Game 7s in his career. He has averaged 19 points, 8 assists on 35% from the field, 23% from 3. Yikes. But this from Feel Like Drew exemplifies how I feel about Harden tonight and throughout this season. James Harden is the easiest scapegoat on this team. Clippers were expected to be in the play-in or fall as low as the 9th through 12th seed. He carried the team to the playoffs, been playing 40-plus minutes a night. There's no playoffs without that guy. He's absolutely right, but the first comment is also absolutely right as well. We're going to talk a lot about the Nuggets too, but first of all, I want to close this chapter on the Clippers. This is going to be such an intriguing offseason for them. Is this the last game for Kawhi Leonard as a Clipper and Ty Lue as the Clippers coach? Kawhi still has 2 years and $100 million left on his contract. Remember, the Clippers also do not have the rights to their own draft pick, so they cannot just tank. But maybe the lone positive in this Clippers playoff run, Kawhi stayed healthy throughout it. So maybe that re-ups his trade value and they're able to get off his contract should that be the route they want to take. Now, though, we got to talk about the team that was victorious today, and my goodness, did they look great. Nikola Jokic tonight, 16, 10, and 8. Kind of a pedestrian night for Jokic, but on this series, my goodness, was he as dominant as ever. 24, 11.5 rebounds, 10 assists, 45% from 3. But to me, the story of the series for the Nuggets was Russell Westbrook. Every single game in this series, it felt like they could trust and rely on him as their sixth man, and he was magnificent again today. 16, 5, and 5 with 5 steals. And now one of the most interesting narratives heading into round 2, Russ going back to the place where he is a living legend. Russ against the Thunder. You got the narrative of Russ going back to OKC, and you also have the narrative, of course, of the MVP discussion. Nikola versus Shea. Of course, that's a regular season award, so the award has already been decided. But whatever happens in this upcoming series is going to dictate the narrative so much. On the season, they were 2-2 against each other, by the way. My biggest question for the Nuggets heading into this series against the Thunder, who is going to be the primary SGA defender? I would assume it's going to be Christian Brown, but whoever it is going to need a lot of help. By the way, speaking of this Nuggets team tonight, just look at the offensive balance that they displayed. If they play like this, they can truly win another championship. And how about the job that Coach Adelman has done? Imagine the difficulty. He had to take over with a week left in the regular season. Now he's got them into round 2, and by doing so, I personally think that he's secured the long-term head coaching job. Denver has no time to rest, though, because the Oklahoma City series starts in 2 days, so they better be ready for action. What's your prediction on the Nuggets-Thunder series upcoming?